Chosen one, take a breath. Center yourself. What you're about to hear is not random. This message didn't just land in your feed because of an algorithm. It was a divine alignment. It was sent to you specifically at this exact moment in your life. You didn't stumble onto this video by chance. You were guided by your spirit, by your higher self, by the Most High, who has been watching you walk through the silence, through the shadows, through the search, and now you're being called into something deeper. Can you feel that stirring in your soul right now? That quiet pull that says, "This is for me." Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were walking alone through a path only your soul understood? Have you ever cried out in the dark asking, "Where are my people?" Or, "Why does no one truly see me?" If so, this message is your confirmation. You were never meant to walk forever in isolation. The ache you've carried wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. And what's coming next will prove that everything you've endured was leading you right here. This message is for you, the ones who have always felt different, set apart, not quite of this world. The ones who carry a knowing deep within, even when no one around them can understand it. If that resonates with your spirit, then I want you to do something sacred right now. Type 777 in the comments. That number is a divine signal of alignment, spiritual fulfillment, and confirmation from the heavens. If your soul is nodding as these words pour out, claim it. Comment 777 and let the universe know, "I hear you. I receive this." And before we go any further, I want to pause for a moment and say from my heart, thank you to every single one of you who has supported this space through Super Thanks. Your generosity isn't just appreciated, it's felt. It's what allows these messages to continue reaching the people who need them most. Whether you've donated before or are led to do so in the future, know this: your presence alone is a gift. You are valued, seen, and deeply appreciated. This space would not be what it is without you. Are you ready to find out why you've been isolated for so long? Why you've always felt like the outsider? Why your soul has been quietly whispering, "There must be more"? Stay with me, because today you're going to remember. Today, you're going to discover how to find your soul tribe and why everything you've been through was leading you to them. Let's begin. God's chosen ones, this is how you find your tribe. Let me speak directly to your spirit, chosen one. You've carried the sense of being different for as long as you can remember, haven't you? Since childhood, you've noticed the invisible patterns woven into everyday moments. You saw what others ignored. You sensed things they brushed off. While your peers were captivated by trends, distractions, and surface pleasures, you were always searching for something deeper, something eternal. Do you think that was random? No, that quiet tug inside you was divine fingerprinting. That was God placing a seal on your soul. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to break patterns and blaze paths. That feeling of being different wasn't a flaw. It was the first whisper of your calling. Being chosen doesn't mean you're superior. It means you've been entrusted with a mission that requires more awareness, more sacrifice, and more strength than most will ever understand. And part of that mission, it's finding your tribe. But not just any group of people. Your tribe is made of those who carry the same spiritual resonance, the same inner coding, the same fire in their bones. But let's be honest, how many times have you felt like the odd one out in every room? How many conversations have you walked away from feeling like no one truly heard you? How many relationships left you feeling lonelier than being alone? You're not imagining it. Many of God's chosen walk this earth with a quiet ache in their spirit. It's the ache of not being seen, not being recognized, not being mirrored. You've probably walked into spaces where your presence was too radiant, too truthful, too unfiltered, and it triggered people, not because you did anything wrong, but because your authenticity exposed their illusions. And that rejection, that persistent disconnection, it wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. Have you ever asked yourself why God kept letting you feel out of place? Let's be clear, the loneliness didn't come to destroy you, it came to refine you. Every season of isolation was intentional. Every person who left, every comfort that dissolved, every version of you that had to die. It was all orchestrated by divine timing. But why did it have to hurt so much, you might ask? Because the fire purifies gold, and you, chosen one, are no ordinary metal. You are spiritual gold, and God had to burn away everything that wasn't part of the mission. As it says in Isaiah 48:10, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Look at people like Maya Angelou. Before the world embraced her words, she spent years in silence, misunderstood even by those closest to her. But in that silence, her voice was being sharpened. Or Nelson Mandela, isolated for 27 years, not because he was forgotten, but because God was forming him into a global liberator. Or even Lady Gaga, who spoke openly about feeling like a misfit for years, until she built a tribe of little monsters who shared her vision and heart. These aren't just stories, they're blueprints. Could it be that your own journey of solitude was divine design? Now hear this clearly. The season of isolation served its purpose, but it's time to gather. Your soul has graduated from the wilderness. You are now aligned, prepared, and magnetic to those who were born to walk beside you. You didn't miss your tribe. They were being prepared just like you were. Isn't that a beautiful thought? That somewhere others were going through their own fires so that you could meet each other purified, ready, and whole. As Romans 8:28 declares, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. But here's the secret. Your tribe doesn't just make you feel good, they make you feel known. They won't flatter your ego, they'll feed your spirit. When you fall, they don't just offer sympathy, they call out your resurrection. They're not impressed by your image, they're invested in your essence. That's how you'll know. They're the ones who look at your scars and see sacred stories instead of shame. They won't ask you to dim your light, they'll beg you to turn it up. Just like Keanu Reeves, a man who lived through profound loss but quietly found deep soul connections with those who value depth over noise. Do you long for that kind of bond? Chosen one, this message isn't just information, it's activation. You're not watching this by chance. You're watching because your soul is ready to remember, ready to reconnect, ready to release the fear that maybe you'll always be misunderstood. Number, the people who are meant for you will speak your spiritual language fluently. They'll walk into your life and feel like coming home. And as 1 Corinthians 12:18 says, but now hath God set the members, every one of them, in the body, as it hath pleased him. You were never meant to wander forever. You were destined to be placed. So, what should you look for as your tribe begins to appear? Start with alignment, not similarity. Some of them may not look like you, sound like you, or come from your background, but they'll carry the same fire in their belly, the same ache for heaven on earth. You'll know them by the peace they bring, not the hype. And when they speak, your spirit will lean in like it's hearing an ancient echo. That's not coincidence, that's memory. Your soul remembering its people. Don't ignore this timing. You've been prepared for such a time as this. As Esther 4:14 reminds us, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. You're not lost, you're being positioned. You're not late, you're arriving on divine schedule. And the ones who are meant to find you, they're arriving too, right now, even now. By the end of this message, you'll realize your tribe is not something you search for. It's something you recognize when you finally become your true self. because the moment you stop pretending, they'll stop hiding. And when you stand in your full light, they will come running, not because you chased them, but because you became the beacon they were destined to find. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop searching and start receiving? Chosen one, before you can recognize your tribe, you must come face to face with the truth of who you really are. Not who the world told you to be, not who your family expected you to become, but the essence of your spirit before the world placed labels on it. Have you ever wondered why the title, Chosen One, resonates so deeply in your soul? It's not a crown for pride, it's a commission from heaven. Being chosen isn't about ego. It's about elevation. It's not about being praised. It's about being entrusted. Long before you entered this physical world, your soul made a covenant. You agreed to walk a path most would avoid. You didn't come to fit into a broken system. You came to disrupt it, to challenge it, to replace lies with truth. That's why you've always felt like a stranger in a familiar world. Does that sound like you? You're not just different, you're divinely engineered. Your spirit was programmed to vibrate on a higher frequency in a world that often rewards noise over truth. As John 15:19 reminds us, if you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world. You've always felt the pull to seek more, dig deeper, reach higher. While others were entertained by distractions, you found no peace unless you were pursuing something sacred. That unrest wasn't confusion. It was your soul remembering heaven. And that memory, that pull you've always felt towards something greater, that was God's way of calling you back to divine alignment. Look at Albert Einstein, who once said he felt like a lone traveler because he saw patterns, possibilities, and dimensions beyond the average mind. Or Frida Kahlo, who endured unspeakable pain but turned her agony into art that awakened generations. Or Jim Carrey, whose spiritual awakening turned fame into a platform for teaching divine consciousness. What do all these people have in common? They didn't just suffer. They awakened through suffering. Could your pain have been the doorway to your divine remembrance? Chosen one, the path you walk is not gentle. It is not padded. In fact, the weight you carry is often invisible to others, but crushing to you. You weren't given lighter burdens. You were given broader shoulders. You faced trials that should have destroyed you, but instead they built you. And let's be honest, how many times did you try to run from your calling? How many times did you try to hide in normalcy? You tried to laugh when your soul was sobbing. You tried to dim your light just to be accepted. But no matter how hard you tried, the voice never stopped whispering. That voice inside, that was God reminding you, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. You tried to silence the sacred, didn't you? But the sacred doesn't stay silent. You were never supposed to blend in. You were born to break cycles, even if it meant breaking hearts along the way. And let's talk about your childhood. For many chosen ones, the training began early. Rejection didn't just happen in adulthood. It started at home. You might have been overlooked, criticized, scapegoated, or even emotionally abandoned. But what if I told you that wasn't a mistake? What if your pain was part of the prophecy? That emotional hunger taught you to feed your soul, not your ego. As Psalm 34:18 reminds us, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Many of you were raised in families where your light wasn't nurtured. It was envied or misunderstood. But that loneliness, that silence, it carved space inside you. Space that textbooks couldn't fill, but divine wisdom could. That's why you sense lies in people's words even when they smile. That's why you've always had a spiritual radar. And yet, instead of being celebrated for your discernment, you were labeled too intense, too emotional, too deep. But let me tell you something. You're not too much. You are precisely as God designed you to be. You were awake in a sleeping world. And when a sleeping world meets someone who is spiritually alert, their first reaction is fear. Princess Diana once said, "They see me as a threat of some kind, and I'm here to do good." Her light disturbed systems, so does yours. That's why the world often resists you before it respects you. But you didn't come here for applause. You came for impact. And that's why you've always known, deep down, that your life would never be average. You carry sacred codes inside you, chosen one. Some of you are healers. Your touch shifts atmospheres. Some of you are prophets. Your voice echoes eternity. Some are protectors. Your presence blocks harm even when you don't speak. And some of you are divine bridges, connecting lost souls back to truth. But one thing is universal among all chosen ones. You are not meant to walk alone forever. That ache you feel to find your people, that's not weakness. That's alignment calling you home. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 says, "Two are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up." And here's the sacred truth. When chosen ones come together, heaven rejoices. Because it's not just a reunion, it's a revival. When we stand alone, we survive. But when we stand together, we ascend. That's why this message found you. That's why your spirit couldn't scroll past. It's not random, it's revelation. The gathering has begun. Now take a deep breath and let that settle. The world may not have validated you, but heaven did. The family may not have recognized you, but God set you apart. The people around you may have misunderstood your silence, but your silence was sacred preparation. You've been hidden for a reason, because God only reveals his strongest warriors at the appointed time. And chosen one, that time is now. Chosen one, for most of your life, you've walked through this world with an invisible veil around you. You've smiled in crowds, nodded in conversations, played your role in the rhythms of society. But inside there was always a subtle ache, a sense of watching life unfold from the outside. How many times have you asked yourself, why do I feel so alone even when I'm surrounded by people? That question didn't arise because you're flawed. It came from your spirit recognizing a deeper reality. You weren't misplaced, you were set apart. You weren't being punished, you were being preserved. God was keeping you hidden, not because you were forgotten, but because your light had to be protected until it was ready to be revealed. When you're chosen by God, your life is governed by a different set of laws. You move through seasons that strip you bare. People you loved start fading away. Doors you prayed would open slam shut, and everything familiar begins to collapse. And in the moment it's easy to wonder, why is everything falling apart? But in truth, it was falling into place. Your isolation was not rejection, it was redirection. As Isaiah 49:2 says, "In the shadow of his hand he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." You were not being left behind, you were being sharpened. That distance you felt from others. It wasn't because you lacked love, it was because you carried something holy that needed time to mature without interference. Think of Jesus retreating into the wilderness before beginning his ministry. Think of Moses, isolated on the mountain receiving divine instruction, or Oprah Winfrey, who endured abandonment and abuse in silence before finding her voice and transforming media with authenticity. Even Vincent van Gogh, misunderstood and isolated, painted through his pain and later became a timeless symbol of spiritual depth. Every chosen vessel undergoes solitude, not as punishment, but as preparation. Could it be that your silence was the soil God used to grow your anointing? In that quiet space, your gifts began to surface, your discernment sharpened. You started recognizing lies hidden in smiles and felt heaviness in spaces others called safe. That's not paranoia, that's spiritual discernment. And yet, because the world is addicted to comfort and illusion, You were labeled too sensitive, too intense, too emotional. But chosen one, those qualities the world dismissed were actually your confirmations. As 1 Corinthians 2:14 tells us, "The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him, and he is not able to understand them." You were never meant to blend in. You were designed to awaken others by embodying the truth they've been too afraid to face. The Most High placed you in spiritual quarantine, not to isolate you, but to initiate you. While others chased status and applause, you were in the unseen, learning to hear God's voice without noise, to trust your inner knowing without proof. That kind of intimacy with the divine can't be developed in a crowd. It's built in silence. Every tear you shed, every night you felt forsaken, it was all sacred ground. And now, that season has served its purpose. Your soul has been refined. And just like Malachi 3:3 says, "He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver." You too have been through the fire. But you emerged stronger, clearer, and truer to yourself than ever before. Your tribe is near now. But here's the thing, you had to become the version of yourself that could recognize them. Had you met them before your awakening, your old patterns would have pushed them away. You would have mistaken alignment for intensity. You would have clung to the familiar instead of embracing the divine. But now your spirit is speaking louder than your fear. You've outgrown low-frequency relationships. You've graduated from self-betrayal, and your energy no longer resonates with illusion. That's the power of spiritual awakening. It doesn't just inform, it transforms. You didn't stumble into this journey, you were summoned. The illusions began to shatter, the masks you wore grew heavy, and suddenly your soul began to cry out for truth. That was your alarm clock. That was heaven waking you up. You started seeing repeated numbers, 333 444 1111, not because it's a trend, but because those are divine reminders. If you've seen 333, it's your confirmation that your mind, body, and spirit are aligning. Comment 333 if your soul feels that alignment stirring right now. This awakening stripped away everything false. The roles you played to survive. Gone. The beliefs you inherited that were never yours. Dissolving. The habits that once numbed you, now unbearable. Why? Because your frequency is rising. You've become sensitive to truth and allergic to anything fake. And as your frequency shifts, so does your reality. You begin attracting what mirrors your soul, not your wounds. As Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Your soul tribe isn't drawn to your image. They're drawn to your essence. They're not impressed by your facade. They're magnetized by your frequency. That's why this awakening was necessary. It activated your real self so you could finally become visible to those who are also walking in truth. Chosen one, don't grieve the life you had to leave behind. That life was never yours. It was the camouflage you wore to survive. You weren't rejected, you were elevated. And elevation often feels like isolation before it looks like promotion. You didn't lose people. You lost energetic mismatches. The ones who left weren't meant to witness the next chapter. They were part of the cocoon, not the butterfly. Now you understand. Your spiritual awakening was the death of your false self and the birth of your divine mission. It was the collapse of illusion and the rise of sacred clarity. It tore through you, not to harm you, but to make room for truth. And with truth comes power. You're no longer guessing. You're discerning. You're no longer settling. You're aligning. And with every step you take in your authenticity, your tribe is moving toward you. Now that you truly understand the sacred nature of your soul tribe, chosen one, the next divine revelation is this: learning how to attract them, and more importantly, how to recognize them when they appear. Because let's be honest, Your tribe won't arrive with a neon sign saying, "We're here." They won't knock on your door with matching t-shirts and a banner. No, this isn't a social event, it's a spiritual convergence. You find your tribe not with your physical eyes, but with the eyes of your soul, and they find you the same way. So here's the truth you must carry in your heart from this moment forward. Your soul tribe is attracted to your frequency, not your fantasy. They respond to your authenticity, not your attempts to impress. Let me ask you something. Are you still trying to fit into the version of yourself that the world applauds, but your soul resents? Because if so, you'll continue attracting people who resonate with your mask, not your truth. That's the first divine law of attraction for chosen ones. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you're still rooted in fear, in hiding, in self-denial, you'll draw in relationships that reflect and reinforce those patterns. But when you begin to stand boldly in your truth, unapologetically in your essence, your soul begins to broadcast a frequency that only the right ones can hear. Think about it like this. Your vibration is your invitation, and until your vibration shifts to match your highest self, your tribe won't know how to find you. That's why your spiritual awakening wasn't just a download of insight. It was an energetic realignment. You didn't just learn new things, you became someone new, or rather, you returned to who you were before the world taught you to dim your light. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 reminds us, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." You were recreated, retuned, and repositioned. And now, it's time to emit the signal that calls your people in. Look at Eckhart Tolle, who went through a dark night of the soul before awakening into consciousness that drew millions into alignment with his teachings. Or Dr. Maya Angelou, who once lived in trauma and silence, but when she began speaking from her soul, her tribe of poets, prophets, and protectors emerged. Or Steve Jobs, who was once pushed out of his own company, but after he aligned fully with his creative genius, the people who believed in his vision gathered and created a revolution. Even Florence Welch, lead singer of Florence plus the Machine, often said her most soul-connected collaborators found her only after she stopped hiding the mystical, intuitive part of herself and let it shine through her music. Could it be that your delay wasn't denial? It was divine timing waiting on your alignment. So what does this mean for you now? It means that attracting your soul tribe begins with radical self-honesty. What parts of you have you been suppressing in order to be accepted? What truth have you been dimming to keep others comfortable? Chosen one, your tribe will not find the version of you that hides. They are searching for the unmasked, unleashed, unfiltered essence of who you really are. The more you express that truth in your thoughts, in your voice, in your energy, the louder your soul becomes to those who are tuned into your frequency. And here's the paradox. You don't find your soul tribe by chasing them. You find them by becoming you. Fully, openly, fearlessly you. If you're intuitive, let it show. If you're a healer, speak healing words. Live with healing presence. If you have a message, don't wait for permission to share it. Share it with conviction. As Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." Stop hiding, chosen one. The rooms you once shrank yourself to fit into were never designed for the fullness of who you are becoming. They were training grounds, not final destinations. When you stop compromising your truth for comfort, when you stop lowering your frequency to make others feel safe, you will notice a shift. The people who were attached to your past will begin to fall away, and that's okay, because in their place, new faces will emerge. But these won't be strangers. They will feel eerily familiar, as if your souls already knew each other long before this lifetime. They will speak in tones that resonate with your spirit. They will mirror parts of you you had forgotten, and in their presence you will feel recognized, not just seen. Chosen one, these connections are not just friendships, they are divine appointments. That's why the moment you meet them, your heart will feel like it found home. Not because you share hobbies or follow the same trends, but because you carry the same frequency. As John 10:27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." Your tribe will recognize your voice, not your literal voice, but your soul's signal. And when they do, there will be no need to explain yourself. They'll understand without words. So, what frequency are you emitting today? Is it fear, shame, self-doubt, or is it truth, courage, and divine clarity? Your tribe is listening, whether you realize it or not. They are drawn to the sound of your freedom, not your perfection. They are waiting for the signal that says, "I've stopped pretending. I'm ready to walk in truth." The more you strip away the false layers, the more visible you become to the ones meant for you. The universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to authenticity. When your inner world aligns with your divine identity, your outer world shifts to match it. That is the true beginning of soul alignment. So now, chosen one, let's talk about one of the most powerful moments in your journey: recognition. How do you truly know when your soul tribe has entered your life? Not everyone who feels familiar is aligned. Not everyone who shows you attention is part of your divine circle. So, how do you discern the real ones? The answer lies beyond logic. It lives in vibration. When your tribe shows up, your energy will recognize them long before your mind can make sense of it. There's an effortless connection, a soft resonance in your spirit that says, "I know you." You feel seen, truly seen, without having to explain your past, justify your emotions, or water down your truth. You speak the same soul language, even if your life paths look completely different. There's no shrinking, no pretending, no performance. You are allowed to just be. Have you ever met someone who made you feel more like yourself just by standing near them? That's not chance. That's spiritual chemistry. As Romans 8:16 says, "The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God." When you meet a member of your tribe, your spirit bears witness. It testifies before you even realize why. The connection feels ancient, peaceful, whole. That's the first sign. But it doesn't end there. One of the most sacred and sometimes challenging signs of your soul tribe is what we call the mirror effect. When you're around them, they reflect back parts of you you've forgotten, ignored, or buried. They hold up a spiritual mirror, not to judge you, but to reveal you. And in that reflection, you'll see both your light and your shadow. These are not yes people. They love you too much to let you stay stagnant. They'll encourage your gifts, but they'll also challenge your comfort zones. They'll speak life over your greatness, but they'll also gently call you out when you're playing small. Does that kind of connection sound familiar? True tribe doesn't flatter your ego. They honor your evolution. They won't compete with your light. They won't use your wounds as leverage. Instead, they'll correct you with grace. They'll hold your pain without needing to fix it. They'll say, "I see you. I still love you. Now let's rise together." As Proverbs 27:6 reminds us, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Real tribe isn't always comfortable, but it is always sacred, and you'll notice more than just internal confirmation. The external signs will be everywhere. Divine synchronicities often surround the arrival of your tribe. Maybe you've been dreaming of someone and then meet them unexpectedly. Maybe you keep seeing the same number patterns, 444, 111, 404. If you've been seeing 444, type it in the comments right now. Claim it. That's a sign your angels are near and alignment is unfolding. You might cross paths with someone repeatedly in unexpected places. You might feel a magnetic pull towards someone, even when you can't explain why. That's not coincidence. That's divine convergence. When the soul is ready, the soul family appears. Let me give you a few real-world examples. C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, for instance, were more than friends. Their spiritual bond as writers, thinkers, and believers sharpened each other's vision and purpose. Or look at Brené Brown, whose vulnerability drew in a tribe of truth-seekers that helped elevate her message globally. Then there's Chadwick Boseman, who kept a tight, spiritually aligned circle that uplifted him during both his triumphs and battles. And don't forget Mother Teresa, who, in her humility, formed soul-deep connections with people of all backgrounds, bonds that transcended culture, class, and creed. Do these kinds of connections remind you of someone in your life? But here's what most don't talk about. Sometimes your tribe won't just comfort you, they'll trigger you, not in a toxic way, but in a healing way. Because chosen one, real soul connections are like fire. They burn away what no longer serves. And sometimes the warmth of truth feels like discomfort. But don't run. Don't confuse that discomfort with danger. Just because it stings doesn't mean it's unsafe. Sometimes a true tribe member will awaken old wounds, not to exploit them, but to help you heal them at the root. Ask yourself this: have you ever felt a deep soul bond with someone who also stirred your deepest insecurities? That's not chaos, that's transformation. Your tribe holds sacred space for your healing. They won't abandon you when your shadow shows up. They'll walk with you into the mess and help you clean it with love. As Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. That's what real tribe does. They don't just walk with your power, they walk with your pain. So here's the truth. The ones who truly belong to your tribe will not only feel familiar, they will be formational. They will elevate your thinking, stretch your faith, and anchor your spirit. They'll challenge you not to stay small just to keep the peace. They'll push you, gently but firmly, into your divine expansion. And when that stretching feels uncomfortable, they won't walk away. They'll hold you through it. And that, chosen one, is what makes them holy. If someone comes to mind while reading this, take note. Pray about it. Reflect. Because your soul is already recognizing something your mind may not have named yet. Stay alert. Stay open. And remember, the discomfort you feel in the presence of a real soul connection is not a red flag. It's often the sign that you've finally come home. Now let's talk about where you'll find your tribe, chosen one, not just physically, but energetically. Because the truth is, your soul tribe often doesn't dwell in the obvious places. They may not live in your neighborhood. They might not go to your church. They might not even speak your native language. But they are out there, wandering, praying, aligning, just like you. You're not the only one who has felt that divine ache. You're not the only one who has searched the sky asking, where are my people? And the answer is this: they are being drawn to you, just as you are being drawn to them. But you must meet the moment, not with force, but with alignment. Let me ask you something. Are you hiding your gifts? Are you withholding your message, waiting for someone else to find you first? Because sometimes your tribe is waiting for you to show up, speak up, and step up. You don't have to chase anyone, but you do have to position yourself. That means showing up in spiritual spaces where truth is flowing, whether that's a local gathering, a faith-based seminar, or even an online community built around truth, healing, and elevation. As Hebrews 10:25 says, do not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Community is sacred, but it won't find you if you keep hiding in spiritual isolation. Start posting your insights, share your testimony, leave the comments that reflect your frequency. Join the conversations where truth is being exchanged like currency. When you begin to show up in alignment, Your light will start attracting others like a beacon. Many of your tribe members won't know you exist until they feel you in the spirit. Sometimes all it takes is a word you release that activates something sleeping in their soul. Don't underestimate your voice. It could be the confirmation someone has been praying for. And just as important as movement is stillness. Don't ignore the quiet spaces. So many divine appointments are birthed not in noise, but in silence. It's often in moments of prayer, fasting, meditation, or solitude that the Most High will whisper names, show faces, or download visions into your spirit. Has that ever happened to you? You're resting, praying, journaling, and suddenly you feel led to reach out to someone, open a certain message, follow a path that seems illogical but spiritually resonant. That's not your imagination, that's divine direction. As Isaiah 30:21 promises, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, Fatisem, this is the way, walk in it. Learn to trust the nudge. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't go looking for every ally. Many came after hearing his message. His frequency summoned them. Or think about Malala Yousafzai, whose courage to speak out drew advocates and collaborators from across the globe. Even Tyler Perry said he met key soul-aligned partners after he started publicly honoring his story. When you honor your truth, your people will find you. Why? Because your story becomes their signal. Could it be that your silence has been delaying someone else's awakening? And let's not forget the foundation of all of this, wholeness within yourself. Your tribe isn't here to fix you, fill your voids, or carry your destiny. They are not saviors. They are reflections. Your alignment attracts alignment. That means you must already be walking your path before you expect to collide with theirs. They are not coming to pull you out of the mud. They're coming to link arms with you as you rise. As Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together unless they are agreed? You must be in motion for the meeting to manifest. Are you honoring your calling before they arrive? Are you nurturing your gifts instead of waiting for someone to notice them? Because the truth is, they will find you in your movement, not your waiting room. They'll meet you not at the starting line of confusion, but on the road of obedience. When your soul is in motion, writing, creating, healing, teaching, your signal is being broadcast clearly. That's when the divine timing clicks. That's when the intersection happens. And if right now you're feeling discouraged, if you're thinking, but I've been alone for so long, what if they never come? I need you to pause and breathe. Hear this, you have not been forgotten. Your season of solitude was never a delay. It was protection. You weren't being overlooked. You were being shielded from spiritual counterfeits. As Psalm 121:7-8 says, the Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Most High has been covering you, not because you're unworthy of connection, but because the connection meant for you carries weight, and anything that powerful requires timing. Think of Harriet Tubman, who spent years moving in the shadows, waiting for precise moments to guide others to freedom. She didn't walk with just anyone. She was aligned with warriors of courage and conviction. Or Nikola Tesla, whose genius was unappreciated in his day. But now, in the age of resonance and energy, his tribe has finally arrived across generations. Divine timing never misses, and neither will you. The journey of finding your soul tribe, chosen one, may sound like a beautiful divine reunion, and in truth it is. But let's not romanticize the path without preparing for its realities. This isn't just a walk through light, it's a pilgrimage through shadows, tests, and temptations. If you walk into this journey blindly, you could become discouraged or worse, fall into false alliances that drain you rather than elevate you. And I refuse to let that happen to you. So let's get honest. Finding your true spiritual family comes with challenges you must be prepared to face. Why? because the enemy of your destiny knows how powerful a chosen one becomes when they are surrounded by the right people. One of the first and most dangerous challenges is the presence of counterfeits. Yes, there are spiritual imposters, people who speak the language of light, who appear awakened, but are operating from deep ego, control, or unresolved trauma. Have you ever met someone who seemed so aligned at first, only to leave you feeling confused, drained, or manipulated later? That wasn't your spirit tribe, that was a test. As Matthew 7:15-16 warns us, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits, not by their words, not by their appearance, by their fruits. Do they bring you peace or tension? Do they draw you closer to your purpose, or subtly pull you away from it?" Counterfeits can be charismatic, persuasive, even deeply knowledgeable, but you must test the spirit, not the surface. That means paying attention not just to what people say, but how your soul responds to them. Your spirit never lies. Trust the subtle warnings, the unease you feel around them, the exhaustion after interacting with them, the way you slowly start doubting your truth in their presence. That's not confusion. It's divine protection trying to speak. First, John 4:1 says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. Discernment is your shield, chosen one, use it." And then there's another silent challenge, impatience. You've been isolated for so long. You've prayed, you've wept, you've waited. So when someone shows you even a flicker of understanding, the temptation to cling is strong. But remember this, not everyone who resonates with a part of your journey is meant to walk the rest of it with you. Some connections are stepping stones, not foundations. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever forced a bond just because you were tired of being alone? Because loneliness is loud, and in that noise, even a whisper of comfort can sound like a soulmate. True tribe does not need to be chased, convinced, or clung to. They don't make you feel small to stay in their presence. They don't require you to mute your spirit for the sake of peace. If you find yourself constantly having to shrink, prove, or perform, that is not your tribe. Divine connections unfold naturally, without pressure. They don't manipulate your need for belonging. They honor your growth and hold sacred space for your process. You will also face the surfacing of old wounds, deep emotional scar tissue you thought you already healed. Meeting your tribe will trigger parts of you that still fear abandonment, rejection, vulnerability. Don't panic. Don't run. This is part of the healing. Your soul tribe will be mirrors, reflecting not just your light, but the pieces that need love. And real tribe members won't punish you for having wounds. They will walk with you through the mess. As Ecclesiastes 4:10 reminds us, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. True tribe doesn't shame your process. They stand beside you in it. Look at Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, whose spiritual brotherhood thrived even through trials, pushing each other toward justice and healing. Or think of Beyoncé and Kelly Rowland, whose friendship has endured both fame and silence, with mutual support behind the scenes. These bonds didn't avoid pressure, they were forged in it. Could it be that the discomfort you feel around the right people is simply your wounds learning what safe love feels like? There's also the challenge of elevation mismatch. Sometimes the people who once walked with you, those who felt like soul family, can no longer keep pace with your evolution. As your awareness deepens, your frequency shifts. And not everyone is willing or ready to rise with you. That doesn't mean the connection was fake. It means the assignment was seasonal. Some tribe members are here to activate a specific part of you. And when that activation is complete, it's time to bless them and release them. Don't cling from fear. Don't confuse divine departure with betrayal. Release with love and trust the rhythm of sacred cycles. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." And finally, perhaps the most subtle challenge of all, divine timing. You may feel ready for your tribe, but they may still be in preparation, or perhaps you are still completing your refining process, and they are already in position, waiting for your frequency to align. Don't let the wait weaken your faith. Divine timing is never off. You didn't miss your moment. You weren't forgotten. You weren't passed over. The Most High has been arranging a meeting so powerful that every delay will make sense the moment it happens. As Habakkuk 2:3 affirms, "Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." What happens when you finally unite with your tribe, chosen one? The moment your soul tribe begins to arrive, everything begins to shift, not just externally, but internally, spiritually, and energetically. It's as if pieces of a sacred puzzle start clicking into place, pieces you didn't even realize were missing until they returned. The loneliness that once weighed on your heart, it starts to dissolve. The confusion that clouded your path, it starts to lift. And you begin to realize something you've always sensed deep in your soul. None of it was in vain. Every detour, delay, heartbreak, and season of isolation was divine choreography preparing you for this holy convergence. You weren't just wandering, you were being positioned. The very first shift you'll feel is acceleration. What once felt like slow, heavy growth will suddenly speed up. Why? Because when you're surrounded by the right people, your energy no longer leaks. It expands. Real Soul Tribe members don't compete with your light. They ignite it. They don't pull from your energy. They pour into it. They remind you why you were called. They mirror your power, and in doing so, they help unlock parts of your purpose that were buried beneath years of survival. As Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." When the right spirits surround you, growth becomes natural. Your evolution becomes inevitable. You'll feel the joy of not needing to explain yourself constantly. No more hiding your intuitive nature. No more dumbing down your truth to avoid being too much. Your presence is finally received as a blessing, not a burden. You speak, and they understand. You shine, and they celebrate. That emotional labor you used to carry just to be understood, it's gone, replaced by spiritual safety, soul-level resonance, and the rare feeling of home in a world where you've often felt like a visitor. Can you feel what that would be like? Then comes activation. Gifts you didn't even know you had begin to stir. Dormant talents come alive. Prophetic dreams intensify. Your inner knowing becomes crystal clear. Why? Because the frequency of your tribe matches your own. It's like tuning a radio. Once you're on the same channel, the static clears and divine downloads come through effortlessly. That's why the connection is more than emotional. It's energetic. Matthew 18:20 declares, "For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them." That's not metaphor. That's spiritual law. When chosen ones gather, heaven enters the room. You activate each other simply by existing in the same orbit. Look at Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. Their divine connection didn't just change their lives, it unlocked gifts no one knew were possible. Or Martin Luther King Jr. and his tribe of civil rights leaders. When they came together, history changed. Or even Serena and Venus Williams, who activated excellence in each other's presence from childhood. These aren't just partnerships, they're sacred mirrors. Could your soul tribe unlock parts of your destiny still waiting in silence? Chosen one, this moment, this reunion, is what your spirit has cried for in the silent hours, and it's closer than you think. Every prayer you whispered, every night you questioned your worth, every tear you shed in solitude was a divine seed. And now it's harvest time. But understand this, When you unite with your tribe, it's not just about comfort, it's about commission. You don't come together to feel better. You come together to do better, to fulfill the divine mission etched into your soul before you ever arrived on earth. Because when the tribe forms, it becomes a spiritual engine, not just healing for each member, but healing for generations. That's the power of divine alignment. It doesn't stop with you. It flows through you to bless others. As Ephesians 4:16 says, "From him the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love." Each chosen one plays a part. And that brings us to the next truth, your sacred role within the tribe. Chosen one, finding your soul tribe is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a new sacred chapter. Within the tribe, you are not just a bystander. You are not just a witness. You are a key component of the divine blueprint. There is a role only you can play, a position only you can fill. And your presence within the tribe is not just wanted, it's required. You might be the healer, the one whose words mend broken hearts and whose presence calms storms. You might be the visionary, the one who sees what's coming long before others understand it. Maybe you're the protector, the one who senses danger and shields the circle. Or perhaps you're the igniter, the one whose very energy activates everyone else's gifts. Whatever your role is, know this: it is irreplaceable. You weren't just drawn into your tribe, you were summoned. Let me ask you, have you been hiding your gifts, waiting for someone else to step up? Have you been waiting to be invited into your own destiny? Because the truth is, your tribe doesn't just need your presence, they need your purpose. You must show up, not just as a friend, but as a functioning part of the divine mission. And, as 1 Peter 4:10 reminds us, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Within your tribe, your presence will empower others to rise, just as theirs empowers you. When each chosen one activates their role, the tribe becomes unstoppable, strongholds break, purpose ignites, heaven moves, and together you become more than the sum of your parts. You become a divine force for healing, restoration, and truth in a world drowning in deception. You were chosen by God, and that divine calling on your life does not lessen once you find your people. It intensifies. It sharpens like a blade honed by sacred fire. It expands like a flame meeting oxygen. Within your soul tribe, chosen one, your mission doesn't end. It evolves. It accelerates. When the right souls surround you, the anointing on your life becomes even more activated. You're no longer walking alone, but you're still walking with purpose. And with that purpose comes a responsibility that only you were uniquely designed to carry. Perhaps you are the healer, the one whose touch mends what others can't see. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. Your words carry balm. Your presence carries peace. Or maybe you are the seer, the one who dreams vivid dreams, who receives visions in the quiet hours that carry divine instruction for the entire tribe. You are the map, the light in uncertain terrain. You might be the protector, a spiritual warrior with senses so sharp you feel storms before they form. You stand guard in the spirit over the gates of your tribe. Or perhaps you're the teacher, the one whose soul holds ancient truth, awakening others to their divine remembrance simply by speaking. Your wisdom doesn't just educate, it activates. Whatever form your divine function takes, know this beyond all doubt. You are vital. You are not a supporting role. You are not a background figure. You are an essential piece of God's blueprint for your tribe's collective destiny. Without your presence, the symphony is missing a note. Without your voice, the frequency is incomplete. And within this tribe, your role is not to compare, compete, or outshine. It's to contribute, to synchronize, to pour your unique essence into the collective rhythm of spiritual evolution. Have you ever doubted the magnitude of your gift? Have you ever looked at someone else's light and questioned your own? If so, let this be your reminder. Your light is not an afterthought. It is not dim. It is not less than. You were designed with intention. As Jeremiah 29:11 promises, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." You weren't a last-minute idea. You are a divine assignment wrapped in human form. And yes, your role will feel heavy at times. Yes, you will question whether you're ready. But remember this, the same God who called you also equipped you. You are lacking nothing. You are missing nothing. You were forged in the fire for this very purpose. Think of Harriet Tubman. She didn't just lead herself to freedom. She returned again and again to lead others. Her divine courage ignited the bravery of generations. Or look at Fred Rogers, whose gentle presence carried more healing than sermons. Or Audre Lorde, who used her poetic voice to awaken power in others. Or even Malcolm X, whose transformation from pain to purpose empowered thousands to walk boldly in truth. They didn't just exist, they mirrored truth to their people. And that's your role too, chosen one. Within your tribe, you are a mirror. When others forget who they are, your strength reminds them. When they sink into doubt, your unwavering faith becomes a rope they can grab. When victory is won, your celebration multiplies it. You're not just here to receive, you're here to reflect, to lift, to anchor divine memory in the souls around you. As Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." You're sowing seeds into every soul you touch, seeds of clarity, of healing, of courage. But don't confuse serving your tribe with draining yourself dry. You are not meant to burn out in the name of service. You are meant to flow from divine overflow. That means staying filled so you can pour out without depletion. That means setting boundaries without guilt. That means honoring your own spiritual needs so you can show up fully for others. When your energy is grounded in the Spirit, you'll find that your service doesn't strain you, it strengthens you. You'll no longer be striving, you'll simply be flowing. Chosen one, your presence is ministry, your authenticity is healing, your existence is a testimony. You don't need to perform, you don't need to prove, you just need to be the bold version, the healed version, the radiant, untamed, divinely equipped version that walks into rooms not to impress, but to awaken. Because when you live in your truth, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Your courage is contagious. Your alignment becomes a lighthouse in the fog. So step into your role fully. Don't hold back. Don't second guess. You are not a mistake. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are called. And when you embrace the totality of who you were created to be, your tribe is empowered to rise alongside you. One voice can shift a room, but a tribe of aligned, activated voices, that can shift generations. Stay close, chosen one. There is one more step to take, and what comes next will prepare you to protect what's sacred. Stand firm in your calling and guard the divine connections you've waited your whole life to find. Let's finish strong. You were born for this. Chosen one, as we come to the end of this sacred message, I want you to pause and feel this moment in your spirit. Let it echo. Let it settle into your bones. You are not a mistake. You are not an afterthought. You are a sacred instrument in the symphony of the divine. Every note of your journey, the loneliness, the confusion, the growth, the rising, it all plays a part in the melody of your purpose. And now that you're beginning to align with your soul tribe, something deeper is unfolding. They won't complete you because you were already created whole, but they will reflect your greatness back to you. They will magnify the brilliance already alive inside you. And you will do the same for them. So walk boldly into this new season. Embrace your sacred role without apology. Stand tall in your divine identity because you were chosen by God Himself. And now, surrounded by those who carry frequencies that match your soul, you will rise to heights you never imagined. The time has come, not just to dream about your mission, but to live it with full awareness and fearless devotion. This is your moment, chosen one. Take a deep breath. Let that truth soak into every cell of your body. This message did not find you by accident. It was divinely orchestrated, a divine appointment written in the heavens before you ever clicked play. You've walked through valleys. You've wandered through dry places. You've wept silent tears, wondering if your time would ever come. But this is it. Your time is now. The tribe is forming. The mission is unfolding. The light within you is rising, and the divine is already moving behind the scenes, connecting the dots, aligning the timelines, preparing the rooms that will recognize your presence before you even speak. But you must do your part. You must own who you are. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. No more second-guessing your gifts. No more silencing the message burning in your soul. You're not here to entertain. You're here to awaken. You're not here to follow. You're here to lead. And chosen one, they are already watching. Some have seen you in glimpses and felt something shift in their spirit. Some are silently praying for someone like you to show up. So shine. Shine boldly. Shine without fear, without explanation, without compromise. Shine because your light is needed now more than ever. The confusion is lifting. The awakening has done its work. And now comes the clarity. Now come the divine connections. Conversations that feel destined. Encounters that feel sacred. Doors opening where there used to be walls. This is the flow of alignment. This is what happens when a chosen one finally says yes to their divine assignment. And here's the most important part. You are no longer doing this alone. The tribe is arriving. The frequency is rising. The mission is alive. If this message stirred something inside of you, if your soul whispered, "This is me," then share it. Don't keep this light to yourself. There are others, chosen like you, still wandering through the fog, still waiting for someone to speak the truth that unlocks their memory. Be that voice. Be that mirror. Be that messenger. And if this space has become a spiritual home for you, I invite you to support its growth through a super thanks. If you feel led to sow into this mission, your donation helps keep these messages flowing into the lives of thousands of other chosen ones around the world. But whether you give or not, please know this from the bottom of my heart. I am deeply grateful for your presence, your time, and your spirit. Just you being here is a blessing beyond measure. May your path be lit by divine fire. May your soul tribe appear with undeniable clarity. May your gifts blossom with fearless purpose. And may your mission, yes, the one heaven assigned only to you, be fulfilled with power and grace. This is the rise. This is the moment. Your time is now.